Hello and welcome to Little Learners. In today's video I'm going to be talking to you about the characteristics of effective learning, what they are and how they are used in practice. Before we get started, don't forget to click that subscribe button, and if you do find this video helpful at any point, please give it a like as it really helps out the channel. So the characteristics of effective learning are part of the Early Years Foundation Stage framework. These characteristics focus on how children learn rather than what they learn. Understanding types of learners and the way that children learn can really help teachers to plan provision and enables teachers to give the opportunity for all of the characteristics to occur. So there are three characteristics of effective learning: playing and exploring, active learning, and creating and thinking critically. Let's look at those in a bit more detail. So playing and exploring, this is known as our engagement characteristic. There are three sections within this characteristic: finding out and exploring, playing with what they know, and being willing to have a go. We can break those down even further. So, finding out and exploring. This includes showing curiosity about events and people and objects around them, using senses to explore the world around them and their environment, engaging in open-ended activities, and showing particular interests. So for showing particular interests, children are able to gravitate towards things that they are most interested in. So if you have a lot of provision in the classroom, they're able to go and find the thing that they are most interested in, rather than standing in the middle and not knowing what to do. They may also have things that they're interested in that they talk to you about a lot. When we move on to playing with what they know, this involves pretending objects are things from their own experiences, representing their own experiences in play, taking a role in play, and acting out experiences with other people. An example of this way of learning may be some children role-playing and they are playing schools, for example. So I've had children play where one of them plays me and the rest are playing children, and they act out the register, for example. That's them acting out their own experiences. But of course this spreads to wider experiences, not just those in school. Moving on to being willing to have a go. This involves initiating activities, seeking a challenge, showing a can-do attitude, taking risks, engaging in new experiences, and learning by trial and error. So not being afraid to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes to advance their play and learning. Before we move on, I just want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Mrs. Mactivity. Mrs. Mactivity is a yearly subscription service that gives you access to loads of resources for children aged 3 to 11. All the resources are created by experienced teachers and have been tried and tested. No boring worksheets. Mrs. Mactivity is focused on matching activities to the curriculum objectives. There is so much to explore. Membership is only £14.97 per year. For 10% off your subscription, click the link in the description box below and use the code LittleLearners. So, moving on to active learning, this is our motivation characteristic, and it involves being involved and concentrating, keeping on trying, and enjoying achieving what they set out to do. If we expand those, being involved and concentrating, we have maintaining focus on activities for a period of time, showing high levels of energy and fascination, not being easily distracted, and paying attention to details. The element here that I think practitioners most recognise is being able to maintain focus for a period of time and not being easily distracted. Of course, those work together quite well. Now, this means that children are able to maintain focus, not be easily distracted when something interests them. So if they are given an activity to do that they really aren't interested in, then it's unlikely that you will see this characteristic occur, especially in younger children. Of course, as children get older, they learn that they need to maintain their focus on particular activities. But don't worry if a child seems like they get easily distracted from some things, because if you look at what they are interested in and what they really enjoy doing, you'll probably notice this characteristic in their play and learning. Keeping on trying. So this is really our resilient area of this characteristic. Children show that they persist when a challenge occurs. They show that they have a belief that if they put in more effort, the outcome may be different, and they're able to bounce back after difficulties. So of course, if you have a child who's trying to do something and they're finding it very difficult and they just give up, that is very different to when we see this part of the characteristic happening, when children are really focusing on working out what they could do differently. Even if they keep coming up against the same difficulty, they start thinking about different ways that they could tackle it so that they can bounce back from that difficulty and achieve what they're trying to do. That moves us on to enjoying achieving what they set out to do. Children show satisfaction in meeting their own goals. Children are proud of how they achieved something, not just the end result. So when we were thinking earlier about bouncing back from difficulty, putting in more effort, trying different ways to do things, children can be proud of that process rather than just getting to the end result. And children enjoy meeting challenges for their own sake rather than just for rewards and praise. So next we move on to our third characteristic, creating and thinking critically. This is our thinking characteristic. It is separated into having their own ideas, making links, and choosing ways to do things. If we expand on those, having their own ideas involves thinking of ideas, finding ways to do things, and finding ways to solve problems. So for example, thinking of ideas. This may be when a child comes up with their own game, for example. So I had a child who developed the rainbow game, which is where she got lots of wooden blocks, put them out in a big rainbow, and told her friends that you had to step on every other block on the rainbow as she walked around. That was her very own idea, so we could really see this characteristic of effective learning in play there. Moving on to making links. This involves making links and noticing patterns in their experiences, making predictions, testing their ideas, and developing ideas for grouping, sequencing, cause and effect. An example of when you might see this area of this characteristic working, making predictions and testing ideas, is when children are building a big Lego tower. You might hear a child say, "We can make it taller or bigger," and another child might say, "I think it's going to fall over," and then they put more blocks on to see what happens. And then finally we have choosing ways to do things. This involves planning, making decisions about how to approach a task, solve a problem and reach a goal, checking how well their activities are going, changing strategy as needed, and reviewing how well an approach worked. So if we take that Lego tower example again, we might see this area of the characteristic working afterwards. If the tower falls over, a child might say something like, "We needed to have less blocks," or "We shouldn't have made it so tall," or "We needed more blocks at the bottom," and then you might see them try and do that task again using the new ideas that they have after they've done the task. So deciding how to approach the task again and solving a problem to reach their goal. Now it's important to remember that the characteristics of effective learning are throughout the entirety of the EYFS, the Early Years Foundation Stage framework. This is from birth to age 5. I gave some brief examples in this video and most of those were sort of from about age 3 to age 5, but you can certainly see these characteristics coming out in younger children. If you would like a follow-on video to this about what adults can do to encourage the characteristics of effective learning and create an enabling environment, do let me know in the comments below. Give this video a like, it will let me know that that's something that you're interested in and I can go ahead and film one of those for you. Likewise, if there is ever anything else that you want to see on the channel, just let me know in the comments below. Thank you to Mrs. Mactivity for sponsoring this video. Thank you for watching and I will see you next time.